the heart of America, the nation's #1 progressive voice, where truth and common sense rule. This is the Ed Schultz Show, where America comes to talk. And now, live from Dick Cheney's secret bunker, it's Norman Goldman. Hey, Norm. Duck. It's Dick.
Oh, that's the guy with the gun. Hey, you. Put that gun down. This isn't Venezuela. Norman Goldman, your senior legal analyst here. Welcome back to the Ed Schultz Show for Hour 2 of Radio Ecstasy. And I guarantee you we have Radio Ecstasy because Ron Paul, the congressman from Texas, is going to be joining us in just a moment. I just want to, I've gotten a bunch of emails here. I gave out my personal email address, taxbag2000@yahoo.com, TAXBAG, taxbag2000 at yahoo.com. And I just checked my email, and people are sending me this story about George W. Bush apparently like losing it or something in Texas. I didn't get a chance to really read it because we only had a little while. But apparently he was like beating his chest or something and screaming, "I am the president and this is my destiny." I don't know if any of it's true, so I have to ask, is it true? Has George W. Bush finally lost it? Anyway, welcome back to the Ed Schultz Show, 1-877-934-6833, 1-877-WE-GOT-ED. And you know, one of the reasons, if not the main reason why I started the show today with my opening about Hugo Chavez and the right-wing rhetoric and the left-wing rhetoric and actions and words is because, to me, actions are much more important than words. Actions, of course, are motivated by words, but it seems to me that here in America, we can find a lot of common ground, whether it's immigration, the alleged war on drugs, tax policy. There's a lot of people in the United States, regardless of party affiliation, regardless of rhetoric, that if we just went issue by issue and we forgot the labels and we forgot the name calling, that we could find a lot of common ground with a really large middle here in America. And I had Ron Paul in mind because Ron Paul is a congressman, a Republican from Texas, the 14th district, which is on the Gulf Coast. Brazoria is one of the cities in Texas. I was actually looking at that map a long time ago, long before I knew Ron Paul even represented that district. It looks like a really interesting part of Texas. So, Congressman Ron Paul, thanks so much for joining us here on the Ed Schultz Show. I'm Norman Goldman. Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Thank you. It's nice to be with you.
And, you know, I was looking at your district, and it looks like a really nice area. There's, you know, a lot of seacoast and a lot of small towns. You're about, what, 90 miles east of Houston? Is that where it is?
Well, where I live is about 60 miles south of Houston. I represent Galveston, and it goes almost down to Corpus Christi.
Okay, and that's the 14th Congressional District. And is that about 60 miles from Houston?
What, the whole district?
Yeah, the district.
Oh no, it'd be a couple hundred miles along the coast. It's a pretty long, stretched out district. So,
okay, well, Ron Paul, let me start by asking you this: why are you a Republican? Because I've seen you, I have followed you, and a lot of the positions I've heard you take just don't seem to jibe with the current ethos of the Republican Party. So why are you a Republican?
Well, a lot of Republicans ask me that, and I said, well, the Republicans used to talk about being conservative, and I think of myself as being conservative. You know, I don't like to spend money, and I don't like to raise taxes, and matter of fact, I'm the most conservative member in the Congress when it comes to spending and taxation, so I fit the mold of a true traditional conservative. And I actually believe traditional conservatism did not endorse needless adventurism overseas. There was a strong tradition in the Republican Party that accepted that. And I think too often people think of conservatives today as being neoconservative, and they're the ones who promote the war, and they're also the ones that have engaged in expanding the entitlement system, which is not part of the Republican tradition. So, yes, it seems strange because I'm actually voting the way some of them pretend that they pretend the way they believe, and yet I think I fit the mold of a conservative Republican as well as any of the rest. I think they're the ones who have fallen short. I think sometimes we ought to ask some of these other candidates, why are you to be considered a conservative Republican? Because you aren't very conservative.
Congressman Ron Paul of Texas here with us on the Ed Schultz Show. Congressman, in America, and it cuts across both parties, there seems to be a big libertarian streak. And by that I mean people have the attitude that government, it's none of your damn business what I do, and then you can just fill in the blank. I mean, we have this strong anti-government streak that runs through both parties throughout our history, and of course can be traced back to the Revolutionary War, where we threw off the yoke of a dictator, the King of England. So what is it about libertarianism that Democrats and Republicans and independents can all come together and agree upon so that we can have an agenda to move us forward?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. The tradition is very powerful, and it goes all the way back because I think the founders were very libertarian. Our oath of office is only designed to obey the Constitution. So if every member of Congress and all our presidents obeyed the Constitution, we would be a free society. And liberty is popular. Libertarianism, sometimes people will paint it as being something negative, but believing in liberty, how can you be un-American by believing in America? But, you know, what I see is happening, or what has happened over the years, is that the whole principle of liberty has been chopped up into pieces, and I think you alluded to this fact that we need to bring people together rather than being divisive. But if we went out on the street and asked 100 people, do you believe in the free enterprise system? You know, even liberal Democrats aren't going to say, oh, no, I hate free enterprise. What we want is we have to socialize. You say, yeah, I believe in free enterprise. And then you say, well, do you think the government ought to stay out of our bedrooms and allow us to do the things that aren't harmful to other people and let us lead our own lives? And I say, yeah, it's none of the government's business. And then I think for the most part, you know, if you say, do you think it'd be a good idea if we just minded our own business in foreign affairs? You know, the current president won an election by saying that he needed a humble foreign policy and no nation building and no policing the world. So that's a popular idea. But if you put those three things together, you become a constitutionalist and a libertarian. The problem is everybody has an exception. Yeah, I'm for free enterprise, except if I'm in the military-industrial complex, I need to make some more profits. And you know, and somebody else will say, well, I'm for you know, personal liberty, except I think it's dangerous if you smoke something that I think is dangerous to your health, so therefore I'm going to regulate what you take into your body, and we don't want you to gamble and, you know, these other things.